Fresh off LSU's first national title in women's basketball and all the fame and money that came after, Angel Reese is not done cashing in on her college talent and fame. Reese just signed a major NIL deal with Reebok, a clothing and shoe deal for the Baltimore native. Reese is one of Reebok's first major college athletes signing under new leadership. NBA legend and former LSU Tiger Shaquille O'Neal made it all happen as Reebok's new president of basketball. Reese is about to enter her fourth college season, second at LSU after leaving Maryland. 1 week ago, the Orioles season came to a shocking exit in the ALDS. Fast forward to now, the Rangers still haven't lost in the postseason, so there's something to be said for Texas in October. That historic O season with a lot of top performers, none bigger than Gunnar Henderson. Come mid-November, he's going to win AL Rookie of the Year honors. He's a finalist for that according to his peers in the MLB PA. Kyle Bradish is a finalist for top AL pitcher, and Ryan O'Hearn for comeback player, all voted on by players. Now back to Henderson. He's about to get the major honor, the first position player for the Birds to do so since Cal Ripken Jr.'s rookie season in 1982.
You know, everything that he does at his age and the way he does it is, it's a treat to watch. For me, as someone who's been watching baseball my whole life, it's a treat for me to watch Gunnar Henderson play baseball. I'm so happy that we have him. Can't say enough good things about him.
Maryland Men's Basketball Media Day, that is tonight when Sports Unlimited continues.
Morgan, thank you. Coming up on Fox 45 News at 6 o'clock, we're following breaking news. Former owners of a Baltimore company plead guilty to dozens of criminal violations, the latest surrounding Curtis Bay Energy. And Congressman Jim Jordan doesn't get the Speaker of the House on the first ballot. What we're learning about the next scheduled vote. A shooting at a Howard County gas station leaves a person dead. The concerns coming from residents as Columbia gets voted one of the safest cities in America. Also ahead, a resolution is passed in Baltimore to address juvenile crime. But is that enough? Why critics say there should be less talk and more action. And later, as President Biden heads to Israel, one group on Capitol Hill is asking what that means for funds that were frozen for Iran. We'll have a live report from D.C. with the latest developments.
Live from WBFF in Baltimore, this is Fox 45 News at 6.
And thank you for joining us. I'm Kai Jackson. Tonight, Baltimore suburbs are reeling from a string of violent crimes that have happened in just the past 24 hours. At least 2 people have been killed, others hurt across 3 communities. In Baltimore County, a man was stabbed late last night, and police responded to a scene in Essex just after 10 o'clock. They found a 63-year-old victim who later died at the hospital. And in Anne Arundel County, 4 people were shot at a Severance shopping center. That happened around 8:40 at Reese Road and Pioneer Drive. And police say a group of suspects fired shots at the victims while they were standing in front of a store. Their injuries, though, are not life-threatening. Now, after being named one of the safest cities in America, a fatal shooting has some Columbia residents questioning their security. Last night, gunfire happened outside of a Columbia gas station, killing 1 person and injuring 2 others in a quiet community. Fox 45's Rebecca Pryor has the latest on the investigation and concerns from residents.
Yeah, that fatal shooting has certainly taken this community by surprise. Just this month, Columbia, Maryland was ranked the 2nd safest city in America, a ranking some residents are now questioning. It doesn't look like a crime scene.
This is a very nice neighborhood.
No police presence, damage, or caution tape in sight.
It's pleasant, it's calm, it's peaceful, the people are nice.
And according to this Wallet Hub study, ranking Columbia, Maryland as the 2nd safest city in America for the 2nd year in a row, this Exxon gas station on Fortland Garth Road is just about the last place one might expect senseless violence to strike.
I'm shocked.
But last night, a triple shooting, leaving 1 dead and 2 others suffering critical injuries, shattering this quiet community's sense of security.
To hear that happen, it's disheartening.
It makes me uncomfortable because I have a son that comes to this gas station, and I come to the gas station.
Wanting to raise her 2 sons in a safe environment, Lori Childer says she thought she left crime behind 13 years ago when she moved here from New York City.
This was the safe place, but now I guess crime is everywhere.
I don't see a lot of police around here, unfortunately. And maybe they need to patrol this area a little bit more.
It remains unclear what caused the shooting, and police have yet to make any arrests.
This is sad.
With little to no answers, residents living in seemingly one of the nation's safest places.
It doesn't make me feel so secure.
Now questioning where, if anywhere, is truly safe.
It's scary. No matter where you go, it's in everybody's neighborhood.
Now this evening, police have identified the deceased victim as 24-year-old Baltimore City resident Dylan Perez. Anyone with any information in this case is asked to call the Howard County Police Department. They are currently offering a $5,000 reward for any information that could lead to an arrest. In Howard County, Rebecca Pryor, Fox 45 News.
Well, 2 people are hurt and 1 is dead in 2 shootings early this morning. The first was at 2 a.m. on Russell Street near M&T Bank Stadium. The second at 4 a.m. in Baltimore's Arlington neighborhood. The Arlington shooting left 1 woman dead, and the 2 Russell Street victims are being treated for their injuries. This year, there have been 218 deaths, 520 shootings in Baltimore. And while these numbers are down from last year, the city is struggling to deal with the rise in youth violence. City Council is set to hold a hearing on the juvenile crime crisis. It's not clear when, though. The council passed a resolution to hold the hearing last night, but some critics say that's not a solution. Fox 45's Alexa Ashwell explains.
While that resolution did pass, it will be at least 30 days before a meeting even happens. And even then, what real solutions may come out of it?
The 15-year-old now charged with the attempted murder of a 12-year-old, leading to new questions, including how and where the teen got the gun and the details of another crime he's accused of committing. When announcing his arrest, police confirmed the teen was already in the custody of juvenile services for unrelated gun charges.
We cannot keep ignoring this.
Just yesterday, after being introduced by Baltimore City Councilman Robert Stokes, members of City Council passed a resolution that calls certain agencies to the table, including police and the Mayor's Office of Neighborhood Safety and Engagement, or MONSE, to discuss juvenile crime, the drivers, and solutions. But critics argue there should be less talk and more action.
We've been talking about these problems for a long time. Where's the meat?
Political analyst John Deedy says there's little meat in a resolution. Exactly a month ago tomorrow, Councilman Zeke Cohen introduced a resolution that aimed to address the alarming spike in car thefts across the city.
I think it takes an approach where everybody is at the table.
But those agencies have yet to come to the table. And since then, the number of auto thefts has jumped from about 7,400 to more than 8,800. That's 1,411 more cases, victims, since the resolution was introduced.
It's the appearance of action. We're going to do something. We're going to have a meeting.
Last month, some lawmakers in Annapolis faced a similar backlash. Members of the House Judiciary Committee called DJS Secretary Vincent Schiraldi to the table to discuss juvenile crime and the laws many prosecutors argue serve as roadblocks to holding young people accountable.
They have, from now until January, to have a bill on the table to say, here's what we're going to do.
Back in Baltimore, some local leaders pushing back on the notion a resolution has no teeth.
The resolution provides an opportunity for agencies to share what they have been doing, the successes and areas of improvement, and then also it prepares us council members as we kind of approach forward towards budget season.
But when will meetings translate to change as youth continue to commit and fall victim to violence here in Baltimore?
People want to see more than meetings.
Stokes says he wants to allow each agency at least 30 days to prepare. Again, a date has not yet been set. Alexa Ashwell, Fox 45 News.
Well, the council has called for similar informational hearings in the past, including in the wake of the Brooklyn Day mass shooting, but rarely have the hearings led to concrete policy change. When it comes to public safety, more than 300 action items have come before the council this year. Only 2 have been adopted.
Every member of the city council has a responsibility to the citizens to look deep into these problems and not just talk about them, but actually figure out why things are broken inside of the city and come up with solutions to fix those problems.
And that brings us to our question of the day. Does the city council need to do more to address juvenile crime? So far, 93% of those who voted say yes. To make your voice heard, head to foxbaltimore.com/vote. And breaking tonight, former owners of a Baltimore company pleaded guilty to dozens of criminal violations today. Maryland's Attorney General says Curtis Bay Energy, which operates the largest medical waste incinerator in the nation, must pay nearly $2 million in fines for harming the environment, the South Baltimore community, and threatening public health. Let's go to Kai for the very latest. Kai.
Maryland's Attorney General says previous ownership at Curtis Bay Energy routinely disposed of special medical waste improperly. State officials say this investigation spanned 3 years, and investigators noted a systemic unsafe handling, transport, and disposal of medical waste that was insufficiently incinerated. This facility reportedly takes in medical waste from multiple states and Canada. The AG said because special medical waste carries the risk of transmitting diseases, it must be reduced to ash before it's disposed of. Investigators said employees often overloaded incinerators to process the medical waste faster, sometimes at the direction of previous management.
They regularly failed to properly burn or incinerate or treat the medical waste. Instead, as you see in our evidence photos, they disposed of the medical waste as mounds of raw or uncooked medical waste.
Employees regularly observed insufficiently burned special medical waste such as red bags, surgical gloves, medical supplies, bedding, and more.
Investigators say they documented the company illegally transporting this raw medical waste to commercial landfills in Virginia, with the medical waste at times leaking from trucks. The AG said investigators witnessed these criminal violations in the weeks before the pandemic. Now, in a statement, Curtis Bay Energy says the violations it's being fined for were committed while the company was under previous ownership, and that it's fully cooperated with the state's investigation. The company also promises to do more in terms of preventative measures to avoid further pollution. Mary?
Kai, thank you. Well, Fox 45 also following some breaking news out of D.C., where Congressman Jim Jordan's first bid for House Speaker has failed. The Ohio Republican not securing enough GOP support to win, with 20 Republicans voting against Jordan. Right now, Jordan is attempting to sway the holdouts, a group of GOP moderates and allies of former Speaker Kevin McCarthy and Representative Steve Scalise. Both Scalise and McCarthy voted for Jordan. And this just in, Jordan announced the next Speaker major vote will happen tomorrow at 11 a.m. Fox 45 will continue to follow this developing story. We'll bring you updates both on air and online.
I'm Christine Frizzau on Capitol Hill, where lawmakers weigh the best response toward Iran as leaders there issue a threat of their own.
And temperatures going to be falling down into the 40s and 50s through the evening. And it looks like when you wake up tomorrow morning, probably going to need a jacket. I'll let you know when you're going to need an umbrella, though, and if that impacts your weekend forecast in my Weather Authority forecast.
We're continuing our coverage tonight on the war in Israel. More rockets were fired at Ashkelon, Israel this morning. The city near the Gaza Strip has been a consistent target of the airstrikes from Hamas. It's still unclear how many of those rockets landed and what type of damage they caused. Meantime, the humanitarian crisis in Gaza is getting worse by the hour. Israel's airstrikes have devastated the territory. The World Food Program warns that shops in Gaza will run out of food in less than a week. And while there are storehouses in Gaza that could extend food supplies by 2 weeks, damaged infrastructure making it really impossible to distribute. President Biden is set to visit Israel tomorrow. Secretary of State Antony Blinken says some of the goals of the trip include showing America's commitment to Israel and its security, talking with Israeli leaders to figure out what the country needs, and determining the best way to help civilians in Gaza. And as President Biden heads to Israel, some on Capitol Hill want him to be more clear about what this means for Iran. National correspondent Christine Frizzau joins us live from Capitol Hill right now. Christine, what is the group asking for?
Yeah, it's interesting. There's been a lot of forceful language when it comes to what should and should not be the next steps when it comes to the Islamic Republic. Republicans tonight blaming President Biden for being far too lenient. As Israeli troops prepare for a potential ground war in Gaza, a new threat from Iran. Warning the resistance forces will lose their patience. No one will be able to stop them at that point. It's just the latest show of support from Iran to Hamas. This video, released by the Israeli Defense Forces, shows a cache of weapons left behind in Israel by Hamas militants, which some weapons experts say have clear links to Iran.
Iran not only funds the terrorists, they feed the terrorists, they arm the terrorists, they plan the terrorist attacks.
On Capitol Hill, a group of Republicans calling for the White House to do more, though top leaders, including Secretary of State Antony Blinken and President Biden himself, have vowed full support to Israel.
What is your message to Hezbollah and its backer, Iran? Don't come across the border. Don't escalate this war. That's right.
Some senators say he hasn't gone far enough.
I'm begging the Biden administration to be clear. Just don't say don't. Spell out what happens if Hezbollah is used by Iran to try to expand this war and destroy Israel.
GOP lawmakers told us they want the U.S. to completely cut off any funding from coming into Iran. But they also want the Biden administration to give a more forceful response. We asked if that could include U.S. military involvement.
I don't think you take any option off the table. I think you have to be prepared to respond.
With Hamas launching more rockets toward Israel, and Israel's attacks already decimating Gaza, the cost of war is now on full display. And tonight, a group of about 20 senators, all Republicans, are calling on the Biden administration to permanently freeze that $6 billion that was temporarily unfrozen as part of that prisoner swap with Iran last month. Now, the Biden administration insists Iran does not have access to this. It's in a Qatari bank, but we are continuing to hear these calls for a permanent freeze of that money ringing out here on Capitol Hill. Mary?
And Christine, the president heading to Israel tomorrow. What is the hope from lawmakers? There on Capitol Hill, what can they accomplish?
Yeah, I spoke to a few of them today, and, you know, for Republicans, they continue to say that the United States needs to pledge its unequivocal support to Israel. But there are a lot of other lawmakers who are concerned for what that support, especially if this turns into a long war, would mean for the U.S. role in the world. They want to make sure that Israel is not going to take this war further than it needs to. And especially there are questions tonight about what the U.S. role will be in the future.
All right, we'll continue to watch. Christine Frizzell live for us in Washington tonight. Thank you.
Fox Triplecast this evening showing us some Iowa Taos Cam, Toyota Asian Harbor Sky Cam, a few extra clouds, and on the HD radar, our latest weather maker with a couple of light sprinkles and showers up into PA and New Jersey. A couple of those have tried to threaten us here in Maryland, but most have not made it. But we do have the clouds. You see that there on the Toyota Asian Harbor Sky Cam. Beautiful Inner Harbor in the background. 60, mostly cloudy skies. Winds out of the west-northwest at 5. Humidity is at 57%. So kind of a crisp feel to things. You see the, again, HD radar giving us some returns here in eastern Pennsylvania, down into New Jersey and also New England. But Baltimore westbound, pretty dry until you get way out there into portions of the Intermountain West. That's where we've got some rain, even some thunderstorms down around Phoenix, Arizona. For us, though, cool. There's that latest weather maker. Again, we've got this kind of dotted yellow line. It's a little disturbance. It provided some showers, if you remember, yesterday afternoon, yesterday evening, and now a couple more sprinkles, mainly to our north. That then pulls out. Fair weather high pressure becomes our main weather maker over the next couple of days. So temperatures moderating as we're in the 50s near 60 right now, and this little kind of bulge of cool air coming in from the north is going to shift eastbound. This wall of warmth out to the west, 70s, 80s. Yep, that's going to be moving in just in time for tomorrow, as well as into Thursday, but ahead of, again, another system that could provide rain into the weekend. We'll get to that in a couple of minutes. But the future scan as we head into the overnight hours, there are those diminishing sprinkles sliding east, otherwise clearing skies. We'll call it partly cloudy and cool, temperatures in the 40s by early tomorrow morning, lunchtime tomorrow into the 60s. I think about 65 to 70 for tomorrow afternoon, so maybe an outdoor lunch. That looks okay. You may need a light jacket for that. And then I think it warms up even further for Thursday, even Friday in the 70s perhaps, or at least upper 60s before big cool down, wet down into the weekend. 45 becoming partly cloudy and cool for tonight. Tomorrow, 67, good for walking yourself or walking the dog. The partly cloudy skies, though, do give way to rain into the weekend. I'll let you know what the wettest weekend day is. That's coming up in my exclusive 10-day forecast.
Weather Window, presented by the National Weather Desk.
Seasons are clashing in North Carolina's Blue Ridge Mountains. While fall colors are putting on a show, the white of the season's first snowfall is a reminder winter isn't far away. Speaking of fall, this magnificent shot shows a near perfect reflection of Blue Lake in Washington's Cascade Mountains. But in Hawaii, a rainbow's hues are likely the best fall colors you'll see.
Listen to Off the Radar. New episodes every Tuesday. Find it wherever you get your podcasts.
Well, those big holiday deals you see while online shopping may mean even bigger security risks. What one expert says you can do to avoid becoming a victim. In tonight's Assignment America, you may have noticed more and more online retailers are already trying to get you to spend your money, even though the holiday season is still weeks away. As Steve McCarran from our Sinclair sister station in Seattle explains, scammers and hackers are hoping you slip up as you hunt for those deals.
The more you spend online, the more you tend to shop online, and the more important it is to think about being safe online.
You've got your shopping list to make sure you get gifts for everyone. You're trying to organize everything, and you're moving quickly. That's what the bad guys are counting on.
New data from the Federal Trade Commission shows online shopping and negative reviews accounted for the second highest number of fraud reports in our state during the first 6 months of this year, with nearly 2,000 reports in the Seattle metro area alone. The good news is simple steps can help you avoid becoming a victim. First, turn on two-factor authentication for all your accounts, including banking and personal email.
We don't think about personal email as always being as integral to our identity and safety online, but hackers often begin by compromising personal email.
Nathaniel Gleischer also tells me it's a really good idea to use password management